Hi guys, Father John Crozier here. I'm the Associate Vocation Director of the Diocese of Rockville Center, and as you might have heard, we are in the midst of National Vocations Awareness Week. It's an opportunity that the Church in the United States gives us to consider the gift of vocation, vocations to the priesthood, religious life, to marriage. And I think as we move through this week, it's important to first ask the question, what is a vocation? I think even that word vocation is one that can get kind of wrapped up in a lot of connotations, but I think very simply, our vocation is how Christ wants us to follow him. Our vocation is the very plan, the very destiny that God has in mind for us, that God has hopefully in store for us if we pursue that. Recently, I was meeting with a number of guys who are discerning a vocation to the priesthood, and we were considering this very reality. And one of the guys said, if priesthood and this vocation to the priesthood is my destiny, then if I don't pursue that, and if I pursue something else, I'm not ultimately going to find fulfillment or happiness or joy or peace. I might find some joy, I might find some happiness, I might find some fulfillment, but I won't find the total fulfillment that God desires for me, because ultimately I'm doing something that isn't necessarily what he had in store for me. So it's such an important and really powerful opportunity that everyone has, every man or woman, when it comes to considering what he or she is made for, designed for, created for by God. And in this week, Vocations Awareness Week, in a particular way, we emphasize vocations to the priesthood, to the religious life, those vocations in service to the church. But even there, I think people can often then say, oh, people that are called to priesthood and religious life, those are the holy ones. And then there's like everyone else. But really, that's not true. That's not the case. Because hopefully, we're all living lives of holiness. Because hopefully, all of us, through our baptism, being configured to Christ, are allowing that life to be lived powerfully and that grace accessed. Really, our vocation is the way in which we're called to live out our baptism. And we're all called to live it out in different ways. As St. Paul says to the church in Rome, there are many parts, but we are one body in Christ. And so too with the individual and unique gifts, talents, perhaps even weaknesses that we have, we can perhaps come to recognize the way in which God is inviting us, calling us to live out our baptism. It's important to remember that our vocation, whatever it is, whether it's to priesthood, religious life, married life, can only be fully received and truly understood in and through friendship with Jesus, just as he chose his disciples and cultivated a friendship with them. He spent time with them. They learned from him. They were at times confused by him, and then they were sent forth by him to serve his people. And so it's the same for us. The time that we spend cultivating our friendship with him is so important because, I don't know about you, but when it comes to trust, I only really trust people that I know well. And discernment requires so much trust because it involves our entire lives. So this week that the church gives us, this National Vocations Awareness Week, it is a great moment to celebrate and to be thankful for the gifts that God has given us through our chosen vocation, as we recognize that he loves us not in some vague and anonymous way, but very personally. I mean, you can think of the priests, the deacons, the religious brothers and sisters, the inspirational married couples in your life that have lived out their vocation so profoundly and so powerfully. This is how Jesus makes himself present among us. We believe that the church is the extension of his presence throughout history. And so, as we have this great opportunity this week to pray for vocations, to ask that the Lord might open the hearts and the minds of those, particularly in our diocese, those young men who are considering a vocation to the priesthood, that they might be filled with peace, with strength, with trust, so that all of us may grow in trust, that all of us may grow in friendship with Jesus, so that he can continue to reveal to us the very destiny that he desires us to live.